Hello everybody, my name is Zach, aka The Weather Gamer, bringing you week 5 of the WWC match versus the Ottawa Centrets and Coach Spare Ample, sorry, his thing is Sparse Apple on here. Spare Ample is the coach's name. This is post-commentated because I do not have my... it's post-commentated because I was feeling I crashed the night that I recorded this, so I did not record at the time. I didn't have a voice to record with, so I was just going to post-commentate it. There is no face cam because I'm actually tearing my tower down in order to go stream. So I should be streaming here later today if you're watching this on September 7th, 2nd, not 7th, 2nd. I'll be streaming, link down below to head over to my Twitch. So from the team builder, 5 of the mons I was worried about ended up coming. In Magirna, Latios, Greninja, Landorus, and Arcanine. Luckily, I've built this team in order to handle those, hopefully handle those. So looking at his team versus my team, Latios made the most sense for me as lead. It hits everything but Magirna. It's got Ice Beam for Landorus and Zarina. It's got Ice Beam and Shadow Ball for the Mega Latios. It's got Thunderbolt for Greninja. And it can two-shot Arcanine with Thunderbolt or Shadow Ball. So we're going to go ahead and lead Mega Latios, or regular Latios, and Magirna comes in. So terrible matchup to begin with. The one thing I couldn't touch, I ended up facing. So that was a great play. He had to have known that Latios was built to take down everything but Magirna. So I bring in Escavalier. Escavalier is my direct check to Magirna. If it tries to set up Trick Room, I'm slower, so I'd end up hitting it hard. Much harder. Now, I should have known that he was going to go into Arcanine. Arcanine was the direct check to Escavalier with Fire-type moves. So instead, I switch out into Pelipper to set the rain. What I should have done was I should have played for what was in front of me, because Drill Run would have done major damage to the Magirna, and unless he was going to switch in Landorus or Latios with their ground immunities, whatever came in took a Choice Banded Drill Run, and then I could get out of there. Had I done the Drill Run first turn instead of the switching around, I would have killed this Arcanine immediately, and that would have come in huge later in the match to have this Arcanine gone first turn. So set up the rain with Pelipper. He crunches, and I made a mistake right there, seeing the crunch. I should have known when he crunched that he didn't have Thunderfang, because he would have known that I would have tried to set the rain, and he would have Thunderfanged me to knock out Pelipper and prevent the rain from getting set up a second time. Instead, he crunches me, then he goes into Thanos, which is the Mega Latios. I fire off a Rain Boosted Skull just to try and hit something. He Calm Minds, making me scared. I U-turn out, thinking, okay, great, this is going to be Calm Mind Psychic Sweep. I've already lost this game because I misplayed the first 3 turns. So I bring Escavalier in to threaten everything out. Nothing really takes any hit from Escavalier, especially since it's Choice Banded. A Mega Horn would obliterate this, would obliterate Zarina, would obliterate Gengar, a Iron Head 2 shots, Landorus, Drill Run kills Arcanine, Drill Run kills Magirna, and then the switch. And what do? I go for Mega Horn because I was worried about a second Calm Mind potential when I shouldn't have worried about that, because if I had, even if I had Iron Head, 2 Iron Heads would have killed Mega Latios. I should have gone with my gut. My gut told me to drill run. Had I drill runned, I would have gotten rid of this Arcanine. So instead, I've got the rain up. I'm still not remembering that. I still didn't remember that Arcanine didn't have the Thunderfang. It crunched me instead. So I went into Swampert for fear of Thunderfanging, and that cost me big because instead Arcanine drops a Will-O-Wisp. Will-O-Wisp connects, and now my physical Swampert has had its attack cut in half and neutered. Plus the rain ended. So bad position. In comes that I go for a Waterfall just to try and hit for damage, and now I'm obviously going to be forced to flee with Swampert because I can't sit in front of that. So in comes Chandelure. Chandelure basically walls everything except Greninja at this point, and Landorus. Plus, if Arcanine was Flash Fire, although throughout the entire match I was thinking, okay, Arcanine's got to be carrying Flash Fire. Arcanine has to be carrying Flash Fire. Even though it had intimidated me once already. And just wasn't paying attention to the fact that it had intimidated me. So I knew I couldn't drop Fire-type moves to I thought I couldn't drop a Fire-type move till Arcanine was gone. So he U-turns, which is smart to get the momentum back, comes right back into dash. I'm instantly thinking, great, this thing is... this thing is Flash Fire. There's no reason he wouldn't bring it in on Chandelure unless it was Flash Fired, again, forgetting that it had crunched me earlier. So Pelipper comes back out, we're going to set the rain back up, take the crunch. Again, 2 crunches now, instead of a Thunderfang. I should have known at this point, and should have still remembered, there's no Thunderfang. I can freely switch Pelipper in against this thing every time. So out goes that, in comes Thanos. I go for the Ice Beam, predicting something to come in and not appreciate the Ice Beam. I was thinking that it was going to be either Zarina, which didn't make sense because of Hurricaning, Latias, which is why I went for the Ice Beam, or Landorus coming in to try and hit me with a Stone Edge or something. And so I went with the Ice Beam, it worked out. My mistake there was U-turning this turn. Not really, because he was outrunning me with Ice Beam. That's why I U-turned. Okay, yeah, so I U-turn out. And I go right back into Escavalier to threaten. This time, I make the correct play. No, I didn't this time. I knocked off the leftovers. And then immediately get out and go into Swampert. Tries to Willow, thinking he could Willow my Escavalier and neuter it as well as he did Swampert, because I have 2 very physical walls on my team, and having those get willowed is not good. Plus, I don't have a main designated status remover, which I need to start looking at bringing for matches. Anyways, rain stops, I'm instantly slow again. I go for the Waterfall, and he just lets Arcanine go down. That really surprised me, letting Arcanine go down. In comes Shakira. I swap out, bring in the Pelipper. He U-turns for momentum. In comes the Magearna, and I stupidly let Pelipper go down to a Thunderbolt. I should have known that Thunderbolt was coming, and just let it go down. So there goes the rain, there goes my speed ability on Swampert, which is going to put pressure on Swampert against the Greninja, because the Greninja could very well be carrying Grass Knot. It outspeeds, and Greninja will murder Swampert with that. What I should have done was switched into Swampert and taken the T-Bolt, and then immediately pressured with Earthquake. Instead, it gets the Soul Heart boost. Now I go back into Swampert. In comes the Shakira. Earthquake because of what's sitting in front of me. I knew that Shakira was very possible to come in. Maybe I should have gone for the Ice Punch there instead, even though I was burned, but I wanted to make sure I hit Magearna hard because with its +1, a Soul Heart boost, a Fleur Cannon would have gotten Swampert at this range. So I wanted to make sure I hit Magearna and didn't let it get its second Soul Heart boost. So then Shakira, obviously it's going to wall me. I Ice Punch, predicting him to U-turn me because that's all he'd done the entire match with this Zarina was U-turn every time it came in because he knew I was swapping out. So I made the risk of staying in knowing I could potentially take the grass move and Ice Punch. And Hacks came into play, I get the freeze. A very unfortunate freeze. And as it turns out, he stayed in. He wasn't going to U-turn me that turn. We were talking later, post comments, that he actually grass moved me. So that would have killed Swampert right there. I got very lucky for that freeze. So then it remains frozen. I switch into Ninetales. He's going to be forced out after another turn of freeze because he cannot take a Blizzard from a Ninetales. So in comes the Magearna. And I nasty plotted knowing that a switch was coming, but I should have known that it was going to be a switch into Magearna and should have just fired off a Blizzard instead of nasty plotted. Had I fired off a Blizzard or even a Moonblast, firing off one of those, putting damage on this Magearna would have been great because it would have put pressure on the Magearna later in the match. Instead, I decided to try and get greedy and nasty plot for a sweep, and I paid. I tried to sweep too soon. So I'm forced out. In comes Swampert. It shifts gear to speed up. So I instantly knew this was the shift gear set, which made sense with Thunderbolt. So I wasn't worried about Trick Room. So, hail, damage, burn damage, I'm down to 51%. In comes Shakira again. This didn't really make sense. With me burned, the Magearna survived an Earthquake and then retaliated and killed me with Flare Cannon. Or even a fairy type move. So I was a little surprised that he didn't stay in with Magearna. Must have been trying to preserve it and keep it healthy for later in the match. So in comes Shakira. I Earthquaked again, and then we'll go into a series of Ice Punches here. I Ice Punch, he's frozen. The freeze hacks are stupidly in my favor. Power Up Punch to get my attack back to neutral. Still frozen. I'm risking a thaw at this point. This set of turns I was risking severe chance of him thawing and then just murdering me. This was, outside of Chandelure, this was my only option that could take him. Ninetales, this was the only thing I had that could take down Zarina reliably. And it was also my only Earthquaker, and I needed that Earthquake for Magearna. Like, I absolutely needed Earthquake for Magearna at this point, and that's something for future drafts I'm going to have to look at. I have to get a reliable Earthquaker. I thought Cobalion got Earthquake, and it doesn't. It doesn't even get Earth Power. And so, I'm desperately looking for a reliable Earthquaker so I'm not tied to bringing Rain every time I need Earthquake, or forcing myself to run a mixed Latios. So again, risking it, I just keep freeze, haxing, ice punching, continue to take the burn whittle, it's fine. I knew that Swampert wasn't going to last much longer. With the rain down, it didn't outspeed basically anything except the Magearna. So I knew I was going down. I kind of decided not having Earthquake. I still had Chandelure, Flamethrower with the E-Belt. Would murder Magearna at this point, so I just let Swampert basically do its work and go down. So in comes Tongue Scarf, it surfs. I see that it's Protein, which is obvious, and there we go. So, this is where I made another very critical mistake. This, in turn, becomes a series of critical mistakes on my switches against this Greninja. Unfortunately, I didn't bring the correct coverage on my Chandelure because I was afraid of a setup Magearna and a setup Latias, or a Trick Room Magearna, so I brought double passive moves on Chandelure, and you'll see why that comes in as a problem. So I know this thing has Surf. I didn't remember that this thing usually carries Ice Beam, but he switches out anyways. So Knowing that the switch was coming, I was going to Thunderbolt, and I'm pretty sure that's what I did here, was I T-bolted. I did. I T-bolted. And I should have known. I shouldn't have T-bolted. That was a critical mistake here, was the T-bolt. I should have just popped the Ice Beam right away, because I would have killed this Landorus without taking any damage on Latios, potentially. And even though it would have been a neutral hit against Greninja, or a resisted hit if Greninja had fired off its own Ice Beam and retaliate, Thunderbolt was just a waste of a turn. So I am faster. I hit the Ice Beam. Unfortunately, he is Yachi, so he is allowed to survive that. Had I dropped the first Ice Beam and then dropped the second Ice Beam, again, still wouldn't have taken any damage. I get another freeze. Apparently, the carrying my Alolan Ninetales gave my other Mons carrying Ice-type moves freeze hacks, because I get a freeze on the Landorus. Basically, Landorus is now dead. I Calm Mind, thinking, okay, when I did my calcs, so Latios and Mega Latias max speeds tie. It's a speed tie. I cannot live a Draco from a Latias. So I was worried about if this Mega Latias was carrying Draco, it was going to kill me. I had to get +1 from a Calm Mind. Plus then my Dragon Pulse, because I did not want to carry Draco Meteor myself and lower my special attack, because I needed this special attack full for Thunderbolt to kill Greninja, for Shadow Ball to run Havoc, for Ice Beam to kill Landorus. I had to be at full. So I ran Dragon Pulse, and I had to get the +1, or else I had to win 2 speed ties to kill the... No, I had to win 2 speed ties, because I'd have to get the +1 on the first time Latios was sitting in front of Latias, and then drop the Dragon Pulse. So I went for the +1 right there, knowing that Landorus was frozen, couldn't really touch me, minus a U-turn. And then if it did U-turn on the Calm Mind, I could live a hit from really anything and retaliate with +1. Like Greninja Ice Beam with me at +1, can't kill me, and then T-Bolt would kill. So I knew I could go for the Calm Mind here, which is what I did. So Calm Mind, frozen, I fire off another Ice Beam and kill that. In comes Magearna, and I'm forced to switch. In comes Chandelure. Chandelure obviously pressures the remaining 3 Mons. It kills Magearna with Flamethrower. Like, there's no surviving. No matter what health it's at, it dies. It kills Latias with Shadow Ball. Latias doesn't survive that. The only problem is the Greninja. I have no answer for Greninja at this point outside of Latios. Latios is the only thing that can hit Greninja and kill it. Unfortunately, I have to get the +1, so I'm going to have to sit in front of something to get that. Otherwise, the rest of my team just dies to Greninja. And this is where that Energy Ball was a major problem. So he shifts gears, thinking he can outrun me. Switches into Tongue Scarf, and this is where the match is gone. Like, at this point, the match is just over. Without having the Energy Ball, I was screwed. Having Taunt and Haze on this really killed me, and I believe Haze was the one that I made last second change to prevent a setup sweeper versus Taunt. And I cut Energy Ball off. And the reason for that was I was carrying Thunderbolt on Latios, so I didn't feel like I needed Energy Ball. But yeah, the match is over at this point. And the reason I say that is Greninja outspeeds everything on my team, and Greninja is protein boosted, and it's not choiced. And so it basically can switch moves and kill whatever is sitting in front of it. Had I had the Energy Ball with the E-Belt on the Chandelure would have killed Greninja coming in. Then Magearna comes in, I Flamethrower, it dies. And Mega Latios comes in, I Shadow Ball, it dies, because Mega Latios, with its set being stored-powered stored-powered Calm Mind Thunderbolt, and Recover, it could not touch Chandelure until it got to high up pluses, and even running that, I still two-shot with E-belt. So, critical failure on my part. I will not be running... This is why I don't run defensive teams, and I view Haze and Taunt as defensive moves, because you're preventing setup on the opponent, when in reality, if you just, like, guns to the wall and don't back down, you got it. And this is just a prime example of why I don't run defensive teams, why I don't run defensive moves, and I'm still mad about it. I'm not mad at Spare. I'm 100% mad at myself, because this match was basically mine to lose once I got rid of his first 3 Mons. Like, this match was mine to lose. And I just... poor prep. So, Chandelier comes in, I switch into Escavalier, and he surfs. And me, being stupid, forgets HP Fire. Thinking, Escavalier comes in, he surfs. He's probably got Ice Beam, he's probably got Gunk Shot for Alolan Ninetales. So, but I forgot his I didn't remember his 4th move. So I thought, okay, 4th move, maybe U-turn. But I forgot, I hadn't seen HP Fire on anything, and I knew there was no way he was carrying only Arcanine as his Fire type, because that would be stupid to leave me unchecked with Escavalier, because Escavalier with a Choice Band has done work this season for me. There's the Protein HP Fire. And down goes Escavalier. Again, I have nothing that can touch this Tongue Scarf. So it faints, I go into Latios, Ice Beam, and I knew this was going to kill. Ice Beam kills. I thought I might have been able to outspeed, but no, he ran max speed against my max speed. And Greninja's just a nightmare. Greninja kills Latios, in comes Ninetales, thinking, okay, Hidden Power Fire, I should live 1. I do. I can fire off a Moonblast, because that's the best thing I got, and chip it. But then I switch into Chandelure, take the HP Fire, Flash Fire, however... Doesn't matter, because he's just going to surf me. I'm slower. Surf goes off. I die. In comes Ninetales. One last death from... he could have HP fired, but he extra sensoried me. Yeah, so that was bad. Really poor prep on my part, getting rid of the Energy Ball. All I can say is good game to Spare. I really hope I make playoffs. I'm kind of in a position now where, based on how other teams are doing and sitting in the 7th, 8th slot right now, with a negative differential, I'm going to have to do some major winning to get back into the playoff picture, because I don't see the Murkrows, I don't see the Dragonites, I don't see the Buizel's, any of those 3 coming out. Those 3 are basically locked into the top 3 for playoffs. Spare has played extremely well. He should make playoffs, continuing at the rate he's going. As should the Copenhagen Cacturns and Matthias. He's continuing to play extremely well. He should make it. So it's that critical last seed that is a fight between 3 teams at this point. And I still have to play both of them, the Dutch Pyroars and the NB Garchomps. But if I lose either of those matches, playoffs are probably out of the way. Like, my playoff chances are gone. I basically, minus, like, maybe losing 1 game to the top team, one of the top teams, I'm basically screwed. I have to run the table at this point to get into playoffs, or have the other 2 that are ahead of me basically have their seasons blow up in their face. So, poor prep, live and learn, you move on. Again, GG to Spare, great game. Wonderfully played game, very interesting on the switches. Misplays on both parts, very hacksy in the freezes. Again, I'm sorry for the freeze hacks, but he ended up pulling it away anyways. So yeah, should have, let's see, recap. I will be streaming today, links in the description down below. You can join the Discord if you want to come hang out. hang out with me, hang out with my Discord family, and play around at all. You can follow me on Twitter if you want to see when I go live, when I post videos to YouTube, if you don't want to hit that subscribe button. Artist down below who does amazing work if you want to check him out, and Griffin Feathers. And I will catch you guys later. Thanks.